Hello, friends. Welcome back to Whispers of Time. Today, we invite you into a story that lives far beyond history books, a story that breathes in the hearts and memories of millions around the world. This is more than a football tale. It is a human journey shaped by hardship and hope, brilliance and contradiction, triumph and suffering. In this episode, we begin the unforgettable rise of a boy who came from dusty streets and dared to challenge the sky with his magical left foot. This is the story of Diego Armando Maradona. Diego Armando Maradona was not born into comfort, fame, or privilege. He was born into struggle, noise, dust, and dreams. On October 30th, 1960, in the small town of Lanús, near Buenos Aires, Argentina, a boy came into the world who would later be worshipped like a god by millions and criticized like a villain by others. But on that day, he was simply Diego, the fifth of 8 children in a poor working-class family. Soon after his birth, the Maradona family moved to Villa Fiorito, one of the poorest neighborhoods on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. Villa Fiorito was a place of dirt roads, fragile houses, unemployment, and forgotten dreams. Life there was harsh, but it shaped Diego's soul. His father, Diego Maradona Sr., worked tirelessly to support the family, while his mother, Doña Tota, became the emotional center of Diego's life. She believed in him before the world did. From the moment Diego could walk, football became his language. The ball was not a toy, it was an extension of his body. In Villa Fiorito, children played barefoot on uneven ground, dodging rocks and broken glass. Diego did not complain. Instead, these conditions sharpened his control, balance, and creativity. Every bounce of the ball taught him something new. At the age of 3, Diego received his first football, a simple gift that would change history. He slept with it, protected it, and treated it like a treasure. Even then, neighbors noticed something special. He could juggle the ball endlessly, never letting it touch the ground. It wasn't training, it was instinct. By the age of 8, Diego joined a local youth team called Los Cebolitas, the Little Onions. Under the guidance of coach Francis Cornejo, the team went on an unbelievable unbeaten run of over 130 matches. Diego was the heart of that team. Small in size but massive in talent, he embarrassed older and stronger opponents with ease. His dribbling felt magical, almost unreal. News of the boy genius spread quickly. People came just to watch the little kid who plays like no one else. Diego loved the attention, but he never forgot where he came from. After matches, he often returned home to help his family, carrying water or food. Fame was knocking, but poverty was still inside the house. At just 15 years old, Diego Maradona made his professional debut for Argentinos Juniors in 1976. He was thin, shy, and nervous, but once the ball touched his foot, everything changed. He played with confidence far beyond his age. The stadium felt his energy. Argentina had found something rare. Soon after his debut, Diego made a bold promise on live television. He said, "My dream is to play in the World Cup and win it." At that moment, it sounded like a child's dream. History would later prove it was a prophecy. Between 1976 and 1981, Maradona became the face of Argentinos Juniors. He won 5 consecutive Argentine League scoring titles, an incredible achievement for someone so young. Defenders tried to stop him with fouls, kicks, and aggression, but nothing worked. The more they attacked him, the stronger his will became. In 1981, Diego joined Boca Juniors, one of Argentina's most popular clubs. For Diego, this was more than a transfer. It was destiny. Boca represented the working class, the poor, the fighters. It represented him. Wearing the blue and yellow shirt, Maradona played with passion, pride, and fire. He led Boca to the Argentine League title, becoming a national hero. However, Europe was watching. In 1982, Maradona moved to FC Barcelona for a world record transfer fee. The pressure was enormous. Spain expected a miracle. But Europe was not kind to Diego. Injuries, illness, and brutal fouls disrupted his rhythm. At one point, he suffered from hepatitis, keeping him away from football for months. Despite flashes of brilliance, his time at Barcelona was turbulent. The breaking point came in the 1984 Copa del Rey final, when a violent clash erupted after the match. Diego fought back against players who attacked him. The image shocked the world. Genius and chaos were already walking side by side. Barcelona decided to let him go. Many believed Maradona's best days were already behind him, but destiny had other plans. In 1984, Diego moved to Napoli, a struggling club in southern Italy. No one expected greatness except Diego himself. As he arrived in Naples, thousands of fans welcomed him like a savior. For the poor south of Italy, Maradona was one of them, an outsider, underestimated, hungry to prove the world wrong. And this was only the beginning. When Diego Armando Maradona arrived in Naples in July 1984, football history quietly shifted direction. The transfer itself was shocking. Napoli, a club that had never won the Italian league, paid a world record fee to sign a player many believed was already damaged goods after his turbulent time at Barcelona. To the football elite of northern Italy, this move made little sense. To Naples, it meant everything. Naples was not Milan. It was not Turin. It was poor, emotional, proud, and constantly disrespected. For decades, the south of Italy had lived in the shadow of the wealthy north. When Maradona walked into the Stadio San Paolo for the first time, more than 70,000 fans filled the stadium just to see him juggle a ball. They did not see a footballer. They saw themselves. Maradona felt it instantly. For the first time since leaving Argentina, he felt understood. Life in Naples was raw and intense. The city loved Diego with a passion that bordered on obsession. Murals of his face appeared on broken walls. Street vendors sold shirts with his name. Children followed him everywhere. He could not walk freely, could not breathe privately, but he fed off the energy. Naples gave him purpose, and he gave Naples belief. On the pitch, Maradona was unstoppable. Napoli had good players, but Diego transformed them into warriors. He demanded the ball constantly, controlled the tempo, and attacked fearlessly. Italian football in the 1980s was brutal and defensive. Defenders were allowed to kick, grab, and hurt creative players. Maradona was fouled more than anyone else in the league. His legs were bruised, his ankles swollen, yet he kept playing. He played angry, he played proud, he played free. By the 1986-87 season, Napoli became a force no one could ignore. Match after match, Maradona delivered moments of magic, curling free kicks, impossible dribbles, and visionary passes. Napoli shocked the nation by winning their first-ever Serie A title, breaking the EBE dominance of Juventus, Milan, and Inter. They also won the Coppa Italia, completing a historic double. Naples exploded. People cried in the streets. Coffins were carried with banners that read, "We didn't know happiness until now." For a city that had been mocked and forgotten, this victory felt like justice. Maradona was crowned king. Some churches even placed his image beside religious icons. But greatness always carries a price. Off the field, Diego's life began to spiral. The pressure of being everything to everyone was unbearable. Criminal figures surrounded him. Nights grew longer. Cocaine entered his world not as rebellion, but as escape. What had once been joy slowly became dependence. Still, when he stepped onto the pitch, he remained brilliant. In 1989, Maradona led Napoli to victory in the UEFA Cup, defeating top European clubs. Once again, He stood at the center of everything. Napoli were no longer underdogs. They were champions of Europe. Yet inside, Diego, something was breaking. As his club career reached its peak, international football called once more. Mexico, 1986. One man, one nation. The 1986 FIFA World Cup was more than a tournament for Argentina. The country was still emotionally wounded from the Falklands War against England in 1982. The nation needed pride, healing, and identity. They found it in Maradona. As captain, Diego carried the team on his shoulders. Argentina were not the strongest squad on paper, but they had something greater, a leader playing the best football of his life. From the opening match, Maradona dominated. He scored goals, created chances, and dictated every game. Defenders tried to stop him. None succeeded. Then came the quarterfinal against England. The match was tense, emotional, and symbolic. In the 51st minute, Maradona leapt toward the ball with the English goalkeeper. His hand touched it. The ball crossed the line. The referee allowed the goal. The world erupted. Maradona later described it as a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. To some, it was cheating. To others, it was poetic revenge. To Argentina, it was destiny. But 4 minutes later, Diego removed all doubt. He received the ball in his own half and began to run. He passed one defender, then another. He accelerated, twisted, danced. 5 English players were left helpless as he pushed the ball past the goalkeeper and scored. It was later named the goal of the century. In that moment, Maradona became eternal. Argentina defeated England, then overcame Belgium in the semifinals. In the final, they faced West Germany. Maradona did not score, but he controlled the match with intelligence and leadership. Argentina won 3-2. Maradona lifted the World Cup trophy as captain. The boy from Villa Fiorito had conquered the world. After glory returning to Naples after the World Cup, Maradona was no longer just a footballer. He was a global icon. The attention doubled. The pressure crushed him. Addiction tightened its grip. Napoli won another Serie A title in 1990, but Diego was no longer the same physically or emotionally. His relationship with the Italian media turned toxic. Fans still loved him, but the magic was fading. Then came the collapse. In 1991, Maradona tested positive for cocaine after a match. He received a 15-month ban from football. The fall was brutal. Napoli distanced themselves. Italy turned against him. The man who once ruled Serie A left in shame. Many believed this was the end of Maradona's greatness. But Diego was not finished. When Diego Armando Maradona's ban ended in 1992, the world no longer knew what to expect. The magic seemed faded. His body was heavier, his mind more troubled, and his reputation deeply damaged. Many believed the legend had already ended. But Diego never lived by expectations. He returned to football driven not by fame, but by defiance. He played briefly in Spain with Sevilla, then returned home to Argentina, wearing the shirts of Newell's Old Boys and later Boca Juniors once again. These were not glorious years, but they were emotional. Stadiums still filled to see him. Children still believed. Even when he struggled physically, his presence alone changed matches. Maradona was no longer chasing greatness, he was chasing himself. USA 1994, one last illusion. Against all odds, Diego earned a place in Argentina's squad for the 1994 FIFA World Cup in the United States. Many doubted the decision, others hoped for a miracle. For a brief moment, the miracle returned. Argentina's opening matches, Maradona played with passion and intensity. After scoring against Greece, he celebrated wildly, running toward the camera with eyes full of fire. The image shocked the world. It looked like the old Diego had returned. But football can be cruel. Soon after, Maradona tested positive for ephedrine, a banned substance. He was immediately expelled from the tournament. Cameras captured him being led away by a nurse, a heartbreaking symbol of a fallen legend. This time, there was no comeback. Maradona later said, "They cut off my legs." For him, football at the highest level was over. Retirement did not bring peace. Without football, Diego struggled to find balance. His addiction worsened, his health declined rapidly. Weight problems, heart issues, and hospitalizations became frequent. The world watched with sadness. Yet even in darkness, Maradona remained influential. His words still mattered. His opinion sparked debate. His personality, rebellious, emotional, honest, never changed. He criticized FIFA, defended the poor, and spoke openly about his mistakes. Unlike many legends, Diego never pretended to be perfect. In the early 2000s, his condition became life-threatening. In 2004, Maradona was hospitalized with severe heart problems caused by years of substance abuse. Doctors feared the worst. Argentina held its breath. But once again, Diego survived. Recovery was slow and painful. He entered rehabilitation in Cuba, where he formed a close friendship with Fidel Castro. He lost weight, regained strength, and began to rebuild his life. The fire inside him, though damaged, still burned. Football eventually called him back, not as a player, but as a leader. In 2008, Diego Maradona was appointed head coach of the Argentina national team. The decision shocked the football world. Critics questioned his experience. Supporters trusted his spirit. As a coach, Diego was emotional, passionate, and unpredictable. He led Argentina to qualification for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. His bond with players like Lionel Messi was deeply personal. He defended them fiercely, like a father. At the World Cup, Argentina showed flashes of brilliance, but were eliminated by Germany in a heavy defeat. Maradona took responsibility. Shortly after, his time as coach ended. Once again, the dream collapsed. Yet Maradona never stopped loving football. In his later years, he coached clubs in the Middle East and Mexico, including Al-Wasl, Fujairah, and Dorados de Sinaloa. With Dorados, he led a struggling team to unexpected success, proving that his football mind was still alive. On the sidelines, Diego laughed, cried, and lived every moment with raw emotion. He was still Maradona, imperfect, passionate, unforgettable. As time passed, Maradona's health continued to deteriorate. Knee surgeries, diabetes, heart complications, his body carried the scars of a life lived without limits. But his status as a legend never faded. In 2018, during the World Cup in Russia, cameras captured Maradona celebrating wildly in the stands. Some criticized him. Others saw the same old Diego, emotional, excessive, human. In Argentina, murals of Maradona covered entire buildings. Songs were written about him. Tattoos carried his face. To many, he was more than a footballer. He was identity. On November 25, 2020, the world stopped. Diego Armando Maradona died at the age of 60 from a heart attack. Argentina fell into mourning. Millions took to the streets. Fans cried openly. Stadiums went silent. The boy from Villa Fiorito, who gave joy to the poor, hope to the forgotten, and magic to the game, was gone. Maradona's legacy cannot be measured by trophies alone. Yes, he won leagues. Yes, he lifted the World Cup. But his true impact lies deeper. He showed that football could be art, that genius could come from poverty, that imperfections do not erase greatness. He inspired generations, from children in slums to global superstars like Lionel Messi, who carried the burden of being the next Maradona for years. Diego taught the world that heroes can be flawed, that brilliance and chaos can exist in the same soul. That football, at its highest level, is emotion. He once said, "Football is the most beautiful and healthiest thing in the world, and through him, the world believed it." Diego Armando Maradona did not live a perfect life, but he lived a powerful one. He fell, he rose, he fought, he inspired, and legends like that never truly die. As long as a ball rolls on dusty streets, as long as a child dreams beyond poverty, as long as football is played with heart, Maradona will live forever.